Welcome, Tag Fu. What? The first and only podcast about people eating stuff. I'm Mike Lisk.
Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of Egg Fu. What? Young Michael, how was your week?
Pretty good. Pretty
You
good.
didn't try to put a pin on your what there. Did
I
you
gave
give
it a little higher note. I thought
Did you?
I thought I was a little higher than my usual range.
Oh, after the previous 2 weeks, you had raised the bar so much. I guess I was expecting a little more. That's my fault. That's my fault.
Listen to it when it's done.
Don't tell me what to do. You think I listen to this shit? Come on.
Well,
I barely listen to you now.
Just the first 10 seconds.
All right, I'll get.
Anyway, it's very hot up here. You experiencing the heat? Yeah.
It is too fucking hot. And where I work, I mean, first of all, DC is a sauna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And where I work, when I turn to go walk down the street to Metro, it's like, those pictures of Manhattan and Henge or whatever, where the sun is right there between the buildings.
Right. Yeah.
It is right there, but unlike New York, there's no tall buildings for shade. So it's a scorching sun on my skull for like 6 blocks on top of the asphalt. The sidewalk has just been baking. It is disgusting. I hate it. I have to be fair, as someone who spends a lot of the year bitching and moaning about the heat, this summer has been mild. Right? Like even I couldn't
until the last couple weeks. I think
this last week it has flipped the switch, and now it's going to be 3 months of me moaning and crying and threatening to move to Canada. It is miserable, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's miserable, and even in my short little trek to pick up the Chinese food today, it felt oppressive just going out to the car.
Warrior.
I know, right? Exactly, right?
You did it, though.
I'm a warrior. The heat was so intense, and I took the back roads coming back, and it was too much for the horses. I passed a horse farm. The horses were all gathered under a tree. It was too much for them. And then when I get home, there's some shrubbery in front of the house, and the birds are hanging out in the shrubbery. This made me think, are trees and shrubbery the air conditioning of the natural world?
Mike, you are blowing minds.
I mean, they're dealing with the heat, they don't have anywhere to go and get into some air conditioning. So what do? They've got shade. Right. They've got shade and shrubbery.
I would think animals instinctively, like, how people used to build houses so they'd have wraparound porches and rooms were constructed so that you get ventilation, so you get a breeze.
Yeah.
I feel like the stuff we're always told animals know things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not questioning the animals. I'm sure they're very smart. Animals, if you're listening, I'm not shitting on you. I feel like they should, if they're as smart as we say, sniff out places that are breezier, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm totally bullshitting. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Get down near the water. Get down near the water.
The water.
Like humans get near the water.
Yeah.
We have similar traits. We have similar.
But yesterday I was walking and I was like, it's amazing what we get used to as humans.
Mm-hmm.
I am just roasting, and you just kind of like trudging along. And I was like, this isn't normal. Like, I don't care. I don't care. We don't need to get in a climate change thing. I'm sure everybody knows what I think. We don't need to. And it's not normal for humans to just be roasting like this. Traipsing about on our day. People are wearing suits. If you're that roasting, if you're that hot, something better be horribly wrong.
Yeah.
But right now it's just normal, and I hate it.
Yeah.
You know what I don't hate, though?
What's that?
You mentioned a horse farm. What horse farm are you so concerned about? Because one of my first jobs as a little teenage boy was at a horse farm.
No, I didn't know this.
You didn't know this?
No, this is news. This is brand new.
Breaking news.
Never heard the horse farm.
This is one of the best jobs. My brother and I still get misty-eyed thinking about it. It was the best job. I was 13, from 13 all the way through high school.
Wow. Okay.
This woman moved behind there was a huge field behind our house growing up. I think it was corn or what, I don't know what it was. And it's one day, this older lady and her roommate moved in, and it turned into a horse farm.
Yeah.
And she had purebred Arabian horses.
Wow.
Yes, that is
Must have a
correct.
few bucks.
She had 25 mares,
25. Wow.
She had 50 total. And she had saved all of these. They had all been abused or mishandled. People would come to her, and this is in 19 money. People would offer 100 grand for one of them. She would, nope. She would spoil the horses. She was crazy rich. Like her father invented something. I think it's like the thing that connects trains together,
Okay. Yeah.
or the garden hose, something.
Yeah.
So
Something that's used a lot.
yeah, she had a crazy amount of money, so she didn't need to get rid of the horses. We would scoop the horses' residue from the stalls every Saturday morning.
Okay.
Would bale hay in the summer. We'd have, most of the time we were kind of on our own, just teenagers running through, barns. But the best part was, and this is part of my training for Egg Foo, she'd get us lunch. I think just Saturdays, because Sundays we worked, I think like 11 to 4. Saturdays was like 8 to 5. And she'd just ask us, what do we want? She's going into town. Sometimes would say Pizza Hut. Sometimes would say Burger King. Sometimes would say both.
Mm.
And boom. That on top of it, we always had a huge cooler stuffed with sodas, which sounds disgusting on a day like this, but when you're 13 or whatever. And yeah, and I learned how to drive at 13. I'm driving a truck on a farm.
Wow.
Loved it.
Never knew you were a farmhand. This is
I
total.
don't talk about it. I keep that private. Mike.
Keep it. Did you learn how to ride a horse? Were you riding a horse?
No, she wouldn't let anybody. Some of them were older. Like I said, she wouldn't let anybody ride them. They were like, she was just going to spoil them for I don't know how long. I mean, when I left for college, I think all the horses are still alive. She just wanted them to be happy. She'd spoil them, feed them, rub their bellies, whatever. Yeah, it's really great.
And you worked the weekends only, or during the week as well?
In the summers, when we were baling hay, we'd work a couple days a week. There wasn't enough work really for, like 5 days a week. But yeah, throughout the school year, be on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And then the summer, a couple more days sprinkle through.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
She paid well too? Just a
remember,
minimum wage?
Yeah, I think it was like, and she would take out FICA, like she'd write a check.
Oh, so she made it legal, huh?
Every Sunday, she'd write a check. She'd pull out her one of those huge checkbooks.
Right, yeah.
From the ledger.
Uh-huh.
I seem to remember, and this would be, let's say 1988, 87, whatever. I seem to remember it'd always be like $63.
Uh-huh.
Which I don't know how I spent it.
$63.
Once I got a car, it was like I'd fill it up for $5 and like wouldn't have to think about gas for another month. So I don't know what I spent this money on, but when I hear horse farm, I have nothing but great memories.
I live in a semi-rural area.
Mm-hmm.
So there are farms down here in this in my town.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in a suburb, so it's a little mixed. It's mixed down here.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I got on a horse one time. This was quite a while ago. I guess I was a teenager. And I went with my cousins to some place. And the deal was the barn where you got on the horse, it was at the top of a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And it went down a very narrow path with stone walls on very close to your legs.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know I was going horse riding. I'm wearing shorts and Dockers or something,
Oh, yes.
And
big boy pants.
These stones are I'm very yeah, I mean, I'm like, am I gonna be like scraping off skin going down this path? Fortunately, that didn't happen. But once the horse got down to the bottom where there was a big sort of field, it sort of knew that I was an inexperienced rider, and it immediately turned around and started dashing up this narrow path with the stones on either
Yikes.
side. So I've got no control of this horse.
This beast.
It's running. Yeah, maybe it was the heat. I think it was a
Beast
warm
between
day,
your legs.
and it just wanted to get back to the barn. Right? Yeah, I think it was a hot day, and it's like, what's this idiot doing on top of me? He doesn't know what
Heard
he's
that.
doing. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm just going back to the barn, and yeah, I had to duck my head, you know, because I would have knocked my head off if I didn't duck as we approached the barn, and that was my horseback experience. That was it.
The horse seemed to have
One and done.
seemed to hate you. Like that
Yeah.
seemed personal.
One and done.
Yeah.
I call these types of experience once in a lifetime experiences. I went to a rodeo once.
Mhm.
That's actually
That's one too many times in a lifetime.
Well, one of my friends was actually, his wife was into the dressage. Do you know what that is? Where you
Yes.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen's
I
daughters
was
are
gonna say,
into
yeah, Springsteen's good.
that. It's like for rich people, you steer a horse around in a pen,
I love that we've done this for over a year, and this is the first time you've ever stopped and asked me if I know what a word is, and it's dressage.
Well, I didn't know what the hell it was when my friend started talking about this. This was a whole new world to me. I'm like, what? She's not going to be at the track with the horses. She just steers them around. And yeah, that's what it is. They get into a nice costume and they steer these horses around, and I guess you're showing it that you have the control over the horse. It's a domination thing. But so I went to that once, and then he was really into the horses, and he's like, let's go to this. There's a rodeo in South Jersey. It's been there forever. Cowtown, I think it's called. And Cowtown,
Right on
New
the
Jersey.
nose.
Cowtown, New Jersey. And it's a long drive. We drive all the way down there. And, again, I'm open to experiences, new experiences, And it wasn't that thrilling. It was mostly, they're letting out the calves and chasing down the calf and roping. I guess if you ever listened to Imus in his later years, it was all that crap that he talked about and bored his listeners to death with. But there was one incident that I'll never forget, and it was right at the beginning. They played the national anthem, and I guess maybe you've seen this at ball games. Guys grow so attached to their dumb hats that I think they don't even realize they're wearing a hat. It's like part of their head.
Right.
So this poor idiot happens to be standing there with his hat on during the national anthem. And this was driving one of the cowboys, who's like, he's getting ready to buck a bronco or something. And he's getting pissed off at this idiot who, he doesn't realize he's got his hat on for the national anthem. And he's literally like ready to go after this guy.
Oh my God.
And I just remember like the building rage in this guy. And then I think somebody nudged the guy with the hat and said, hey, why don't you take your hat off, dummy? And he did. And the situation was resolved. But I'll never forget the rage that was going on with that guy.
That's my. Oh, you didn't like Mad Men, right? You told me you didn't like Mad Men.
I watched it. It was such a phenomenon. I'm like, what's everybody talking about? So I did watch it. I committed to it.
I think my
Prestige TV. We keep talking about.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think my least favorite moment was Don gets on an elevator one time. And there's a guy with a hat. Guy's wearing a hat.
Yeah.
They all wore hats then, but I guess inside you didn't. And Don looks at him. I guess he was already miffed about something. I don't know. Maybe he had only had sex with 3 hot chicks that day or something. They're in there, and he says to the guy, hey, take your hat off.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, what? No, or something. And Don just steps over to him dramatically, of course, takes the hat off, shoves it in his chest, and the guy just stands there like, I'm like, are you fucking insane? No.
Now that used to be a thing though. That was like, you know,
Yeah,
I
but
think they were,
nobody's walking up to another man and taking his hat off
yeah, yeah,
without the expectation of getting your ass beat.
yeah.
That's not happening.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't remember that scene. Like most of the show, I've forgotten everything about it.
That's nice. I'm glad
No,
I brought.
actually, the funniest thing I remember about that show was when they'd show the flashbacks when Don was in Korea,
Oh, yeah, that
and
was funny.
they no, but they put just to like show that they weren't going to DH him, you know, and you know, so they put an oversized helmet on him.
Oh,
So
look like a kid.
so it's like covering his head. You can't even see him, you know.
Oh my god.
I thought that was pretty funny. But
Usually when they go back in time sequences, I guess they couldn't do it because he's in the army. The
yeah,
signal is always a beard. Like, oh, back in
right.
time, whatever
Yeah, like
time you're going to, beards were everywhere. So that signals, okay, this is a
mhm.
different time.
But you didn't have a beard in the service, though, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. I guess for that,
Yeah, they couldn't do
well,
it.
we can't do the old beard trick. We'll give him the old
Uh-huh.
too big because you're a toddler helmet trick.
Uh-huh.
But while we're talking about horse farms, let me give a shout out.
Shout out.
Number one, right after going, a teenage boy meeting 25 stallions, going through the change of his life. Not good, not great for your self-esteem, if you know what I'm saying, Mike. When you see what you
Yeah,
have.
do we need to go into the gutter here?
I'm not painting a picture, man. I'm not saying bad words.
Can't we get a short story about this?
It is, well, it would have been over by now. I'm just saying, I'm giving a little insight, Mike.
Okay, yeah. No, you see stuff that the ordinary person doesn't see.
Not in this case. I'm just saying, when you're 13 and you see that, you're like, oh, gee, it doesn't help. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But shout out to the one horse's name I remember, El Dalul. This guy, like every Saturday morning, most horses, you go in the stall, a little pile before you scoop up. No big deal.
Yeah.
El Dalul, it would be, I'm not joking, 3 feet up in the air. I don't know what they fed him.
Uh-huh.
Different. They didn't seem to know. El Dalul was very healthy with his eliminations, to the point that I remember him all these years ago.
Mhm.
El Dalul, big blue factory in the sky. You are remembered. Mostly because you took gargantuan dumps, but still counts.
No, that's yeah, like you said, as a young boy, that would just be something that would be unforgettable and
Oh, it's okay for you to talk about.
traumatic, even.
I think I'm giving an insight to a teenage boy, but you're trying to, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that
wasn't expecting to talk about the old horse farm today.
Yeah, no, this
Right.
caught me by surprise. I can't believe I've known you this long, and I'm finally just hearing about your Greg on the farm days.
Still plenty of layers on this onion, Mike.
There are, yeah, I guess so.
Anyway, she had she had $1 gazillion, basically lived in like an oversized tool shed with her name was Miss Ott, and her friend was Miss Vincent. And she always had 3 little puppies that were the same breed, like the queen with her corgis. And I think we somehow got in her heads that like when one of them would die, she would just replace them all. Which I don't know. That doesn't sound like something she would do. She's a nice lady, so. But great job on the horse. I recommend it to any kid. Find a horse farm with an insanely wealthy woman who will just buy you all the Pizza Hut and McDonald's.
Well, you have to have money to have horses. I mean, the friend I was just talking about, he did have a horse for a period of time, and it's so expensive just to keep a horse. You know,
nobody scrapes money together to get a horse. Nobody working a real job saves for a couple of months or whatever to get a horse.
Right?
That's crazy money.
Yeah. No, I mean, you got to have a farm. Yeah, you got to have a barn. You have to place their house. You know, yeah. I mean, I've got a little space behind the house. I mean, if I could, you know, like you said, pool some money together, maybe do a GoFundMe. You know, I don't have a barn, but I have a porch. I could put them under the porch.
Well, I mentioned Pizza Hut twice today, so if we get that Pizza Hut
tie them up behind the house. Yeah, no, if you
get
got a horse.
We get an official Egg Food What horse mascot. We feed them Chinese food all the time. That'd be cruel, I guess.
One of my coworkers at Mass's Tavern, was an old time Jersey City bartender. Ocean Eddie was his nickname.
Great name.
And he liked to, yeah, the bar he worked at for many years was on Ocean Avenue in Jersey City.
Sounds like one name too, Ocean Eddie.
Yeah.
Could be Ocean Eddie, Ocean Eddie.
He was a great guy, and when I met him, he was an elderly gentleman, and he was coming into work at my uncle's bar for, he would do a morning shift because he was used to doing these 6 a.m. openings at bars in Jersey City, and then he brought that to Mass's Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
And he lived in South Jersey at the time, and he would take a bus. He would take a bus. He had to go to Newark, and he'd have to take PATH train, and I mean it was a long trip just to get to the bar. And he'd come the night before, and he'd sleep on a cot in the basement.
How good was this bar? I mean,
you know what it was? It was like,
I tasted good beer in my life, but come on.
No, you know what? It was giving him purpose. He was around people who knew him, and I think people just have a hard time just sort of retreating. Even though you move away from the place where you're known, you miss that. And I think basically he saw this as a way to be in touch with some of his old customers and have a few laughs. And so, but he really made the extra effort just to get up there, and the night before, but he always told his story, and I wish I was there, where he brought a horse into a bar in Jersey City of all places. So I mean, I don't think I ever got all the details about how he procured the horse and what the logistics were, but it must have been kind of amazing to have a horse just come into a bar.
What's the craziest thing you've seen walk into a bar?
Walk into a bar. Somebody asked me recently, what was the craziest thing? And I didn't see it myself. It was it was a manager of another bar that I went to. And it was a big man, a large man, somehow had fallen and gotten his head wedged. You know how the bottom of stools have like a ring sometimes, around the legs,
Yeah.
Somehow, and I guess only an intoxicated person could do this. He got his head wedged in that ring, and he couldn't get his head out. So imagine this huge man gets up from the floor, and he's got a bar stool stuck to his head.
And he kept drinking?
And no, he it was a crisis. He was trying to get the thing off. So, and there was only the manager left in the bar, and they were having a hard time getting this thing off of his head. So he was getting kind of mad, and he's waving the stool in the air like some crazed deer with his antlers. And I never saw the footage. This was apparently all caught on the cameras in the bar. And I said, "Wow, you got to get that." I said that would be a viral video if you could get that out there.
Get online, son.
But he never got it out there. But
so this guy got his head stuck in a stool for nothing.
I guess you could say that.
How great would that be if you're just sitting at a bar, middle of the day, chilling, and all of a sudden a horse walks in all by itself?
Well, yeah, that would be something.
Never mind in the joke, a horse walks into a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would you do? Like, everybody just looks at it. He doesn't have a human with him. Just kind of walks back and forth in the bar. That'd be pretty cool.
Did a horse ever make it into Cheers?
I don't remember.
I mean, they got those steep steps. I mean, I think it would be hard.
Oh, yeah.
What about Only Fools and Horses?
Don't you tease me, Mike. You watching later? Don't you?
No, I saw it.
I know you hate Uncle Albert, so.
Yeah, I saw an Uncle Albert clip the other day, and yeah.
Which one was that? I can't remember now.
I don't know. He was sitting there and talking to the other guy.
Well, you do paint a picture, Mike.
Not Rodney, the other guy.
Del Boy?
Del Boy.
Yeah, I can't think of ironically, I can't think of a horse scene in Only Fools and Horses.
No.
Plenty of fools.
Yeah.
No horses.
So I've been
Jane's Way was the name of the farm.
say it again.
Jane's Way was the name of the horse farm.
Jane's Way.
Jane's Way. I don't know why.
Her name wasn't Jane though, right?
Her name is Jane Ott.
Oh,
So
okay. So
I guess Jane's Way. I don't know what that means, but
well, a way is like, a path or.
well,
Yeah.
don't try to make me look stupid, Mike. Come on,
It's
it's my show too.
I don't have the same problem you do with the name.
I don't have a problem with it. I
Uh-huh.
know. You're 15. You don't think to ask what it means.
Uh-huh.
It was just on the checks that I was getting. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
As long as the bank didn't ask questions, I didn't care.
So I'm still getting out of Bayonne, get my stuff finally out of there, hopefully by the end of the month. And so I had to move all my whole music collection. Well, it's just the CDs. I never brought my records up there, but I had a lot of CDs. I don't know if you remember those 4 big shelves I had. There was a lot of stuff.
Do you have 1,000? Would you say?
I don't know. I don't never counted them. It's beyond counting. It's a lot. But so anyway, I'm
not literally beyond. I mean, you can literally count them. I mean,
yeah, I could, but it's like, why?
But if it was a carnival, would you guess over or under 1,000?
Yeah, maybe over.
You said you're waffling.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really got down to the numbers of it, but it's a lot. It's
Are you trying to be humble? All right.
It's a lot for a human being. But I now I'm handling all this stuff, and I'm like looking through stuff. Usually when they're sitting on the shelves, you're not going through and seeing all the stuff you've amassed. And I'm just like, oh, when did I get this? It's just like there was some curiosities, let's say. So I thought maybe it would be fun on this show to play a little game called Mike's Music.
Ooh.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw out a name of an artist.
Uh-oh. I got my pen.
And you tell me whether or not I have a CD by this artist.
Ooh. All right.
Okay.
I like this. I can be right and judgy.
There you go.
My 2 favorite things.
I figured you could throw in some quips as we go along.
Now the pressure's on. Great.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Does Mike have a Pantera CD?
I love the construct. Does Mike have? I will say no, Mike does not have a Pantera CD.
You are correct. Mark down how many you get right. I'm not going to keep track.
Oh, you're too busy. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Do your own calculations here.
Right. All right. 1-0 so far.
Does Mike have a Korn CD?
Well, this is tricky because normally I would say, of course, Mike doesn't have a Korn CD because he has working ears connected to his brain. But it'd be hard to think that you'd come out of the gate with 2 yeses. But then again, wouldn't that be what you'd think I would think? So I'm going to stick with no. Oh, wait, a dramatic reveal. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mike does have a Korn CD. What are you doing with a Korn CD? What happened?
The Untouchables.
What?
I don't know. I think I saw a review. I read too many reviews, and I think I saw something saying this is like a classic metal thing. Or you know what? I don't even know if I ever listened to it.
Well, then it should count in the no category. I'm gonna count that as me being right. But you should ding me when I don't answer with the phrase, because you say, "Does Mike have a CD by?" I have to answer, Mike does or does not have a CD by Korn. So I'm gonna say Mike does not have a CD by Korn, and I'm gonna give myself credit because even you seem baffled by it.
I only have one, if that's any
Don't try to
consolation.
justify it. That's
I don't
pure
have, I'm
garbage.
not a completist with corn, and that's corn with a K for those who,
Backwards K, right? Isn't it the
yeah, it's backwards. And I was supposed to work one of their concerts at the Garden State Arts Center, PNC now it's called, but it rained, and heavy rain, and ended up canceling the show, which is unusual because there is some coverage. There are lawn seats, but I think it takes a lot for them to cancel. And all the corn fans were mad. You know, they were.
I would think so.
They went away mad. I don't even think they rescheduled that show. I think people just had to get refunds or whatever.
What little I know about corn is they were probably pretty mad to begin with, these fans. So nothing wrong.
Uh-huh. All right. You know, Mike likes all types of music, and
Here we go with the editorial. Okay. Okay.
you know, he likes to try and hear the best of all genres.
He sounds amazing.
Does Mike have any CDs by Bing Crosby?
See, I want to say yes. But then that would be too, yes, no, yes. I don't know if you're going to go for that too easy back and forth.
Uh-huh.
But I don't want to outthink myself here. I'm going to say yes, Mike has a CD by Bing Crosby.
You are correct.
3-0, bruv.
Mike has 2 CDs.
Ooh.
Bing's Gold Records and the Best of Bing Crosby.
Nice.
The Millennium Collection.
What year did he die?
It's a good question.
Like, I don't remember him being alive.
I guess I've read about him. He was not a nice man off camera, apparently.
He did that little drummer boy thing or son, whatever it was, with Bowie in the 70s. So he was kicking around at least in the 70s.
Yeah. But then I think all this stuff came out from his kids that he was abusive, and
it's always the kids. It's always the kids. Let me tell you something. If you're famous and you want to be an asshole, just don't have kids.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that are going to shit on you after you die. Right?
That's true. That's true. Okay, let's get back to it. Does Mike have a Rob Zombie CD?
No. Well, I'd say no, because I hate his music. But I kind of like him because he loves the Ramones. He was in that documentary. He was funny.
He is a funny guy. Yeah, he's
But
strange.
there's no way you can have another yes. I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna take a chance. I'm not saying this is gonna make me a hero. I say yes. Mike does have a CD by Rob Zombie.
I do not.
God damn it. The nicest thing I could say about him is he was in the Ramones documentary.
Uh-huh.
All right. 3-1. All right.
Okay. Does Mike have a CD by Taylor Swift, the billion-dollar heiress of the current tour? She's going to make more money than any other musical act.
I don't want to hate Taylor Swift, but I don't know what I did. My phone is just wall to wall on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, Instagram, wall to wall videos of Taylor Swift concerts. That's all I get. Just I don't know what I hit that makes the internet think, oh, this guy, he's a Swiftie. I'm kind of sick of her. There's no reason I should have any opinion. I don't listen to her music. I'm fine with her. She seems like a nice person.
Yeah.
I hate her. I'm just all
the domination. It just got to be too much.
Well, it's like she can dominate all she wants. I just don't know what I did so that it's on my phone.
Well, that's on you. That's not on her.
I don't know. I hit something.
That's how she's making $1 billion.
And I gotta say this. And again, I have no business talking. I don't know her music. She seems like a nice girl. I thought her whole thing was, I'm a real artist. I'm a real songwriter. I want to be respected as a writer. I play guitar. It's important to you that I'm a musician who writes her music, blah, blah, blah. But all of these 90,000 videos I get every day, she's just prancing around in basically a bathing suit with tassels and glitter, singing, dancing for 100,000 people. I'm not getting anything that's like, wow, this is a serious artist who wrote her music, and
Called
all
showmanship.
I'm getting is she's just the next big pop star, screaming, making noise with glitter, and no, I'm sure she's not even singing.
She's in a
That's all I-
stadium. She's on
Stadiums, yes.
50-foot tall screens. She's not just going to stand there at the microphone with her guitar.
That's why you have the 50-foot screen.
It's
Why
called
else would you have the screen?
it's called showmanship.
I know what it's called.
Give them a show. She's
If
raking
you're
in
out
$1 billion.
swinging- If you're on the swings over the audience, throwing glitter everywhere, you don't need
Pink is up in the air doing aerial acrobatics now.
Yeah.
You got to give the people something besides, standing at the microphone like Creedence Clearwater Revival.
right.
It's like, they wouldn't cut it in today's entertainment world.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I don't get it. I don't want to hate on T-Swizz.
No,
I sat through that documentary for some reason.
you're
years
a
ago.
secret Swiftie.
No,
Apparently,
I don't know.
I'm not getting all these ads.
I don't know why people keep dating her. You're gonna get turn up in a song.
They want to be in a song.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
it's usually these dudes. It's like it'd be one thing if you or I were like, oh, sure. These guys are already rich and famous. They don't need the grief, but they're like, oh, let me sign up for this. Where do I go to get shit on in the next 6 to 18 months? Here, awesome.
And have millions of people hate you online.
Yeah, where do I go
The
sign up to have every
Swifties.
girl under the age of 15 hate my guts for the rest of my life? Where do I sign up for that? Oh, they tell her, you got it. It's like, how many times do I have to say this? But again, I don't want to hate on Taylor Swift. Just please get off my goddamn phone. Will it help? I do like one of her songs. Out of the Woods. Kind of the only reason I know it is there was a brief period of a couple of years where my goddaughter and a sister may have been led to believe Taylor Swift was my girlfriend. So I had to pick one song I liked. And I like Out of the Woods.
Out of the
So
woods.
liking that will get me off of this Taylor Swift punishment list. Please, Taylor. I don't want to hate you, Taylor Swift. Anyway, to answer your question, you absolutely have a Taylor Swift CD. Why else would you be asking?
I do not.
God damn it, Mike.
I'm messing with you. I'm inside
Boy.
your head now.
Yeah,
You don't know where I'm coming from next.
You are. I got to be honest. You are in my head.
I did
thought this
listen
would be a
to.
little easier. I thought I wouldn't care. I thought I would just shout it out.
Uh-huh.
But now you got my brain twisted, Mike.
Well, when she first came out, she was a country artist.
Right. She was like, oh, I'm going to stand here with my acoustic guitar and sing songs.
Yeah.
Now she's just pop and glitter and everybody's fainting.
And one of her albums, Rolling Stone, a couple of years ago, put out the 100 best country albums.
Mhm.
And one of her albums made the list. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I listened to that record. That's the only album I've ever listened to. I didn't buy it.
Mhm.
And it was okay. It just didn't do it for me,
Well,
that's that big hit. What is it? Shake It Off? Is that the name of that song?
Shake It Off. Yeah.
That
if you
song.
write a song called Shake It Off, you have not shaken it off.
But the thing about that song is that it sounds a lot like a Vampire Weekend song. And
Are we talking about Vampire Weekend right now? The two of us?
Yeah,
Hold on.
we are.
We went from talking about Taylor Swift to Vampire Weekend in a matter of seconds.
Pension
Who
hipsters.
are we, Mike?
We're back in Williamsburg.
Wow. Who are we? Even back in Williamsburg, we weren't talking about the physical. That's hip.
Anyway, but I thought I heard the Vampire Weekend song first, and I'm like, then I heard the Taylor Swift song. I'm like, that sounds like a ripoff to me. And I thought Vampire Weekend was going to cash in, but I think they realized the powers they would be going up against. So they maybe they settled something on the side. I don't know.
Imagine if, what was it, a cover of theirs? Or they thought she ripped them off?
Well, I'm pretty sure. I think it's the song is Diane Young. Do you know that song?
Yeah, I know all Vampire Weekend and Taylor Swift songs.
I think it was that song. And if you play them back to back, you can hear it. It's pretty. They're very close. You
Can you
know.
imagine? I don't know if she ever does covers. I don't think she. Can you imagine if you wrote a song that Taylor Swift happened to pick up and cover?
Oh
Like,
yeah. No. Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
you know the
Nicola.
Vertebrates, Left in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always. I felt like that was my generation's like I don't know, like every band, every cool band that loved the Replacements because they had covered it, loved the song. It was never a hit. Nobody ever bought it, but it was kind of in the alternative rock world. Most bands knew it. It was like Louie Louie. Everybody could play it. And look, I had a relationship with the main guy, Ken. We emailed back and forth a couple of times. He sent me some cassettes,
There you go.
stuff he was working on. I sent him some cassettes of music I was working on.
Mhm.
I never heard from him again, but
Uh-huh.
Kenny Drasnick. But
Uh,
so he was working. So you think, oh my God, the guy who wrote Left in the Dark. I assume he was just sitting in a castle. He was working for Rydell Sports,
Mhm.
the helmet people. But then I remember a couple years later, and I don't even know how I got his email. Oh, it was my buddy Matt the Nat. Little shout out. He's not listening to this, I'm sure, but somehow got his email, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, God, I wrote to him. This is 20 years ago. You could just write somebody and they would actually read the email because it was something. And like I said, he was excited. I was a fan. He sent me a tape of stuff he was working on, blah, blah, blah. And so then I remember a couple years later, there was a rumor that Courtney Love had recorded a version to go on her next album,
Mhm.
which would be the one with the big hits, Malibu, what was the Celebrity Skin or something?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the name of the album.
Yeah, huge albums back
Mhm.
when you'd sell 5 million albums. So I know he was, and fans, we're all excited. Oh man, he's gonna cash in finally after 30 years of having given the song to everybody, and it's just, and then of course it didn't, ended up not going on the album.
Mm.
Like somebody's decision to just not put a song on an album changed his life, right? And it's probably
Well,
a decision
how
that
do you
did,
know it wasn't Courtney Love's decision? Because
right. It
he's
could have been her.
thinking, well, why don't I get one of my songs on? This song's taking up my place. I'm not making any money off of it.
Well, then again, that was back when CDs were still like, remember CDs for a while there. The problem with them when they were too long, everybody was like, "Oh, there's more room in a CD."
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. They started
songs
cramming
on.
them. Yeah.
But maybe it was Courtney Love, but somebody in a split second made a decision. Nah, and I bet it wasn't even like I doubt whoever it was stayed up all night working out these decisions. It was probably nah, and that could
Mm.
have changed his life.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea why I started talking about this fucking.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the Vertebrats because I did come. I also had all these burned CDs.
Ooh,
You know, I I kept all these burned CDs that you were making for me, Matt
oh
and
yes,
Phil. We were all music fans burning CDs for each other. So yeah, I still have my Heyday CD.
oh wow,
I have a Heyday Happy Scene CD. Both are on the same CD.
wow,
I had some Vertebrats CDs. I think you burned for me.
yep,
Maybe Tandy. You
yes.
were a big Tandy fan, and
Oh
so
my God, I
you were
love that.
burning some CDs for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So I'm rummaging through all this stuff, and it's like, oh, I didn't know I had this. I didn't know I had that. You know,
That's like
and it.
finding old mixtapes. Like I left the day I left Brooklyn, I just left all my CDs. I was like, ah,
Uh-huh,
fuck it. They're all
uh-huh.
streaming, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know if it occurred to me. Boy, I'd like to have some of the old mixed CDs I had. You're gonna have to send me that.
I have
Or,
some good ones. I mean, Matt was burning some good stuff for
yeah,
me.
oh
I
yeah.
I found I think it may have been a compilation he did of Springsteen's acoustic tour
Mhm.
where he was just doing a solo tour. I found a really surprisingly good Pogues live uh, show where he's
Mhm.
unbelievably coherent, maybe the most coherent I've ever heard him in a live setting. That was
Wow.
enjoyable. But
Mixed
yeah, it's
CDs.
fun rummaging through these things and like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, I'm gonna play this. I didn't I forgot all about this.
It's funny,
It's
we
fun.
talked so much about mixtapes however long ago. I totally forgot about mixed CDs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, man.
So back to the
What was it? Taylor Swift was no. Okay, sorry.
Taylor Swift was no. Uh, How about Alabama? Does Mike have an Alabama album?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I got into this, sometimes
Elvira.
this is a series. It sounds quaint today, like I think Time Life. Yeah, Time Life
Yeah.
they'd have these series, right? And they were pretty good. Whoever was doing these
69 CDs.
whoever was in charge of doing these compilations,
You're right, Time
they were
Life.
they were good.
Yeah.
I've got some great, I followed a jazz series they did, a blues, country. Yeah, this is the country series, legendary country singers, and it's in Alabama. When I got it, you had the right to send them back, And when I got the Alabama, I was like, oh boy, and I don't even know if I've ever played this one. This may be another
I'm still
unplayed
counting it.
CD.
Still counting in the win column for me. That's right,
It's a
Time
win. Yeah,
Life.
no, it's a win for you.
Those
But
commercials were on constantly.
they were huge at one time. I guess we're
Yeah.
talking the 80s, right?
80s, 90s, yeah.
And they made it into the 90s. I thought they were strictly 80s. Because
I think
then,
Columbia House was probably phased out by then, but I think Time Life probably kicked through the 90s.
yeah.
I remember them clear as day. Yeah. Yeah, they were constantly pumping out huge sets.
But they were good. If you ever see them in the used CD things,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
those Time Life compilations
I grabbed out, single ones that you find used or whatever.
and
Yeah.
the country ones were particularly good. They had a couple that were like borderline for me, but for the most part, they had all the biggies: Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn, George Jones, Merle, and they were all solid, and they were cheap. So it was like $10 for a solid,
Yeah.
Grateful greatest hits compilation.
I hadn't thought of Time Life. Yeah, yeah, man, that was a machine back then.
Yeah, I don't know if you can still find an info commercial on Sunday mornings where they're still trying to reach out to the people who listen to music on CD.
There must be a repository online somewhere. Like, hey, here's where all the Time Life CDs are if you want to buy them. Must be.
Maybe
That's my project. I'm gonna look
yeah.
up.
A special section on Discogs.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one in the country category.
Right now, it's 4-2. I'm up 4-2.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Does Mike have a CD by Slim Whitman?
You're damn right Mike has a CD by Slim Whitman.
There it is.
Yes. How you like that confidence?
This is from the vintage collection, Slim
Now, I have
Whitman.
to ask, are any of these CDs you've listened to? Because so far it seems like you never listened to them.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It does make it more challenging to figure out if you have one or not.
When you're physically going through your stuff, you're like surprised. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Have I ever listened to it? So that's kind of what this is. Me just discovering stuff I hadn't even thought about in decades.
I love the burned CD. Boy, we used to just always have thousands of burned CDs everywhere. Like,
oh, I've got a whole, but I didn't get rid of them.
Yeah,
Greg, I kept them, and I pulled, like I said, I listened to that Springsteen and the Pogues one, and they sounded great.
Yeah.
They didn't deteriorate. But Slim Whitman was famous. I'm going way back. He was I guess his record company did like a heavy he was big in his time. I think my parents, and I say my parents, I suspect my parents didn't listen to music, but there were like these old records kicking around. So at one point my mother must have bought like some singles,
Mhm,
and she had a Slim Whitman single,
mhm.
and he was big in his day.
Trying to think of
But
what his song was. I know the name. What's his biggest
well,
hit?
it's famous from the Mars Attacks, Indian Love Call. Ooh, he
Keep
he
going.
would he, he would
You're doing
do
good. Keep
the
going.
he would do that sort of thing, you know? What
Woo.
is that called? That's
Terrible.
no, no, but when you sort of warble the vocal, what is that called? There's a name for that.
Bob Dylan singing. Oh, Mike, you set that one up, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're not talking about yodeling.
Yodeling, yeah. It's he was one of the yodeling country guys.
All right.
You had Jimmy Rogers who started that
Uh,
whole thing. But yeah, he was a yodeler, and when I was a kid, they were running ads for Slim Whitman, $9.99. You used to see advertisements for records on TV, and there was a big Slim Whitman push at one time, and I think he got some sales up in the 70s.
why do I
But
feel like I don't remember a time in my life I didn't know the name Slim Whitman, yet I can't think of a single song. All right,
you want me to
I guess there's just people like that. I don't know. I mean, if you don't
love song of the waterfall?
nah, I mean, if you don't know, then I wouldn't know. So that's fine.
There was a
We
guy who used to play. Yeah, it was a good gag before he entered the bar. Because you can play songs on the jukebox before you even get in the bar. You play it on your phone, and he would
really
play the Indian Love Call before he came. That was
wait a minute.
his entrance music
Wait a minute. Time out.
entering the bar.
I haven't been in a bar with a jukebox in 100 years, but now you can just have your own entrance music as you walk through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, oh man. I had lived long enough.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That would have been great for you at the Turkey's Nest, right?
Yeah, what would my song be?
Well, yeah. What would your song be?
Huh, what would your song be?
I considered doing it at my local place, and I thought it would be a good one. Born on the Bayou. It's got that long sort of you know intro music.
I thought you were going to look something a little more Jersey centric.
No, or I would, or something like maybe from an Italian Western.
Yeah.
Ennio Morricone, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Wasn't that the
Yeah.
Ramones? Didn't
Yeah.
they used that for a while?
That's right. Oh, that's a good one. But then you're kind of announcing yourself with balls. You come in with that, you're looking for a fight. Some guys are going to get in your face.
Uh-huh.
I'd probably come into something like Sugar Sugar. Upbeat,
Uh-huh.
happy, no
Uh-huh.
problems here, guys. Just looking to hang out.
Speaking of Sugar Sugar, I did unearth in my burned CD pile
Mhm.
a Bubblegum Classics 4-volume
Oh, I used to have a
box
2-volume
set.
set. I wonder if
Uh,
it's the same one with the flower.
I think I burned it when I was at WFMU. That was one of the big perks of being at
Oh,
WFMU.
that's right. Yeah.
I had access to that library, and I was burning stuff like you wouldn't believe.
Oh man.
I've got spindles of
Yeah.
everything I was burning there.
One of my favorite CDs of that era was a 2 CD bubblegum set. Oh man, I love that thing.
Was it on Rhino, or who did it?
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
was a Rhino?
Either Rhino or Buddha.
Buddha. Yeah, I think Buddha may have done one of those.
Yeah, I think eventually all these reissues come through Rhino somehow.
Well, yeah, Rhino's sort of cornering that market,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what my walk-in music would be. Kind of stumped.
Give it a little more thought.
I'll get a little thought. Or none. Either way.
We've established that Mike doesn't have any Taylor Swift CDs, but does
We've
Mike
also
have
established that Mike likes saying Mike.
does
Which I
Mike
like.
does Mike have a CD of Shania Twain?
Oh man, you are pushing my brain.
Recently back in the picture. She's back out on tour.
Yeah, I saw that she's popping up. I'm gonna say now there's no reason for you to have one. I can imagine you've ever liked her music, other than it falling into your lap for some ridiculous reason, which I feel like would be unfair for this contest. I'm gonna say no. Mike does not have a, God damn it. Jesus, where'd that come from?
Greatest hits. Come on.
But why do you have it? I mean, do you like her songs?
I like what's her big hit?
Still the One I Want.
Yeah.
That don't impress me much.
I don't know. I just really like that song. I felt like I should have that for.
You're Still the One I Want or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'll say about that song I like? It's like Tiny Dancer. The verse goes longer than you think. Like you naturally have this natural timing in your head. You think, okay, this verse is going to finish and go to a chorus or whatever. But then it kind of kicks in for another half verse. I really like that.
It gets in your head. I mean, yeah. Once when that song
like
came
the chorus
out,
is
yeah.
stupid. I don't care about the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
But the verse kind of works. It's a little longer than it should be, but it works fabulously. Like Tiny Dancer does that.
Uh-huh. What's the score now?
5-3.
5-3. Okay. This one's a little tricky, this question.
Oh, this one's tricky. Okay.
Okay. It's a little different. The question is, does Mike have more than one Metallica album, CD?
I'm assuming you have the Black Album.
Yeah, that's why I'm rewording this.
Right.
And how many? How many? What's the top number?
Okay, well now I was gonna say you definitely have an earlier one, but now I have to think, are you trying to throw me off the scent by saying, okay, let's assume I have more than one. How many?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let that knock me out. I think a young Michael in the mid-'80s was hearing about this heavy metal band Metallica. His young, foolish ears were curious, and he gave one a spin. Although, wait a minute, we're talking about CDs specifically.
Yeah, we're talking about CDs. You got to think about the time frame.
Well, I was going to say,
you got to think about the time frame. Yeah.
Album,
okay. All right. The
but
wheels are turning.
But now I don't know if, like, I could see, like in '84 or whatever, you getting Ride the Lightning, a mess, whatever piece of shit Metallica album it was. That, like, a real music lover like yourself may have appreciated, or at least been curious about. But by the time CDs were CDs, I feel like you might have jumped off the Metallica train. Mike, I'm going to say no. Mike does not have more than one Metallica CD.
Let me just disprove your theory. Young Michael was not a metalhead. And
I'm not saying you're a metalhead, but I feel like you would have been curious enough. Like, you know.
Well, young Michael only really sort of became conscious of Metallica with the Black Album.
Really? That surprises me.
That was the first Metallica CD I bought. And then, again, where I'm reading too much music reviews, and they're always coming at you with Metallica, the praise for Metallica.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like at some point your ears would have been, let me give this a shot.
And even in, the Village Voice, right? You would think the Village Voice, they're not going to be too many metal heads on the staff there. But I just remember reading, and I think it was a woman writer, she just kept praising Master of Puppets.
Do have 2 CDs.
Not yet, Greg. We're not done here.
Well, you have more than one.
Yeah. Well,
what did I say? Yes or no?
You said no to not more than one.
I said no to not more than one?
Yeah.
That's a double negative, Mike. Did I just win this court case?
Ride the Lightning.
Okay.
Well, then they started showing up in the used bins, and I kept hearing, people kept making the case for those early Metallica albums.
Mhm.
So, I'd go to Hoboken, had a really good record store, Tunes, and they had a good used section. And so they started showing up there. And Mike kept, for whatever reason, Mike kept trying to give Metallica a chance.
Mhm.
So he also bought Injustice for All.
Is that reason? Because Mike's an idiot. So you have all the classic, like the classic Metallica fans.
And
Eh?
let's not forget Kill 'Em All.
You have every Metallica album I've heard of on
Well,
CD.
those are considered the classics.
The classics, yes.
That's the diehards will go to their grave saying these are great albums.
But see, I was
So-
almost right in that I said I feel like you would have been curious enough to have bought each one of those albums, but I was picturing it as records as they were coming out.
Uh-huh.
mm,
So those Metallica records, I'd buy them, and I didn't rush home to listen to them. I think I think they sat on the shelves for years, and then I just said, "All right, I'm going to make a concentrated effort," and I listened to them all consecutively. I posted about them on Twitter, and I came to the conclusion that I am not a Metallica fan, even though I still have their classics. I haven't
yeah,
parted ways with those albums yet.
yeah. I feel
But
like you have every album that Metallica fans care about.
maybe I haven't heard them on the right stereo system. And
You mean
now I
when
think,
it's turned off?
but in all those CDs, they also include the lyrics, which are like
Wow.
the most juvenile lyrics I've ever read in rock, which is saying something, right?
It's like when you watch that documentary, their writing process. What rhymes with dragon? Oh my God. Guys.
but I still have them, so I think we've
we got it. You got to get the album they were making for the documentary, Saint Anger. You need to give a review of that.
yeah, no, I mean that got such terrible reviews. Actually, the last few, but
I'm
they're,
pretty sure if they did a show tonight, I have a feeling most of their songs they play are going to be from the very albums you were waving around. I have a
what
feeling.
I was working at MetLife Stadium when they played there. They did 2 nights.
Mhm.
I'll say this about Metallica: they have very generous fans.
Really?
I think between and Guns N' Roses also played that summer,
Right.
and I think between those 2 bands, I think they played four shows altogether. Guns N' Roses played 2 as well, and those were probably the best tip nights for me. Yeah, they were generous tippers. I'll give them that.
Nice.
Good tippers.
Terrible music.
But yeah, no, I knew some of the hits when they were playing them, and yeah, it's pounding rock if that's your thing.
Ugh.
So what was your final tally?
5-4.
Not
We
that
don't have a
great.
10th one. It's got to
Y-
be 10. You got to do
Yeah,
10.
all right. Let me see.
Let me see. You guys
Okay.
put a fast one on. Oh, you look like you're searching through your CDs.
All right. Let me see. Does Mike have an Eric Church CD? Now, I don't know if you're familiar with a little song by Eric Church called Springsteen,
All
which
right,
I
there's a
saw.
lot of layers on this one.
I saw. I saw a bunch of. They're cranking out those top summer songs of the all time, and I
Yeah,
saw that on there. Is that a summer song, or did it just come out in the summer? It probably just came out in the summer.
I'm trying not to care less than I already do.
Do you like that Springsteen song?
No.
No.
There's a lot of layers going on with this, partly because of your performance here, where you're looking like you're shuffling through some CDs. All of a sudden you say Eric Church, and I'm like, well, you would have been curious enough because of the Springsteen song. But then I felt like you really overdid it with let me search through my CDs. Then maybe that's what you want me to think. I'm gonna say
Head games.
I gotta be honest, you really got in my head. I would not have thought you would have gotten. I'd have put this much thought into this. I feel like you put on such an effort to put on a show, and with a casual reference to Springsteen,
Uh-huh.
I feel like it was all bullshit performance. I'm gonna say Mike does not have an Eric Church CD. Can I go 6 and 4 instead of 5 and 5?
6 and 4.
Yes. Woo!
Yeah.
Kudos on that. You almost pulled it off again, there, Mike.
Had the wheels turning. Had the wheels turning.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Yeah, again,
Uh-huh.
I would not have guessed. My brain would have been spinning so much over this segment, but whew,
So you got a 60, which is a D, right?
not in my high school. I'll take 6 out of 4. You know,
What was 60 in your high school? B plus?
no, it was definitely an F. I mean, now, my high school's lost its accreditation like twice. So, incredibly, my high school may be dumber than it was when I was there. It takes some effort,
Uh-huh.
but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty proud. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, no.
And
I
these
was
were
throwing you
okay,
some curveballs. I was
and a lot
throwing
of
you some
these you didn't even
curveballs.
listen to, so they're not
Yeah.
even,
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna throw I had some other ones here. Eddie Arnold,
Mhm.
Oak Ridge Boys, Neil Diamond, Neil Diamond, I mean, those early stuff, the early stuff is good. So, but I had that other thing.
What do you mean the early stuff is good? What Neil Diamond isn't good?
Well, what's this song? Coming to America? That
I
song?
love that song.
Oh, I hate that
I know
song.
it's corny, but I love it. And remember that one he did in with your boy? Yes, that's a great album. With your
12
buddy,
songs. This is when all the older guys were doing like covers of.
But he did it with your buddy Rick Rubin, right?
Yeah, this is a Rick Rubin
Love.
record. You're right. You're right.
Delirious Love.
I'll be listening to this later for Rubenesque.
That's a great album, and it came out of nowhere. Like he hadn't done anything in a while. I think he was trying to do the Johnny Cash, Rick Rubin thing.
Yeah,
He didn't have a
that
hit
became
like
a
that.
thing. Yeah,
But that was it. That was a couple of good songs, and Delirious Love. That's a great song. I think that made my top 10 of the decade for that decade. Don't worry, I'll go back and revisit that list tonight and post it. I'm sure everyone's curious. That was a great album.
No, I haven't listened to it. I haven't listened to it probably since it came out, and so yeah, I've got to listen to it for the Rubenesque show.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it on after your endorsement. I'll check it out.
I don't know every Neil album because he's one of these guys. He's put out 9,000 albums.
Yeah,
but I love all his 60 stuff. I like A Hot August Night, the live album.
Of course,
He's so cheesy on it.
Yeah,
it's only Neil can get away with cheese.
Uh-huh.
And I love America. I know it's a corny song, and I love the Delirious Love album. So he can do. I love Neil Diamond. I love Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
I would say, because he's turned into a bit of a punchline. Somehow, I would say he's underrated / overlooked, incredibly enough. And he's kind of a bit to himself because he likes to put on this fancy suits and be cheesy in the concerts, and the old ladies love him. But his early stuff, tons of stuff he's written that were big hits for other people. I put Neil on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm. So you have more Neil Diamond records than Neil Young.
Yeah, Neil Young, I couldn't give a shit about. Neil Diamond.
Uh-huh.
Neil Diamond, if I was with Neil Diamond hanging out at a bar, I would hope someone would say something to him to give me an excuse to beat them up for him. Like, that's my dream. To get in a bar fight.
And he's stepped away, right? I mean, he's just kind of stepped out of the limelight, and he's going out with his dignity. I give him credit for that. He's
Neil
not
Diamond from.
What's that?
Was he born in Williamsburg?
Maybe Brooklyn. Yeah, possible.
Definitely Brooklyn.
Yeah, yeah.
Erasmus High School with Streisand. I thought that was a Williamsburg connection. I don't know.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I would punch Neil Young in the face to get to Neil Diamond. And I shouldn't have said that. I don't want to punch.
That's
too far.
This is a peaceful podcast.
For every one of the 4 Neil Young songs I like, I love 15 Neil Diamond songs. So.
Well, that was fun.
I like,
Maybe,
does Mike have this CD?
yeah. Maybe we'll revisit that in the future. Let us
Maybe.
know what you think
Cool.
in the comments.
The comment, put in the comments if you like it.
Did you like it? Did it go on too long?
How much did you love it?
When am I going to hear about this week's dish, which for me was one of the worst dishes I've had
Really?
since the conception of this show. It was a total bust. I've been going to China One.
Mhm. Great. We can see the menu. Okay. got it. It is a fans. If you don't see it, Mike just held up a Chinese food menu.
Well, I'm going to have to demote them.
Really?
Yeah, their rankings are going way down. They're China 10 now. Here's the thing about this dish. I haven't seen this dish at any of the other places.
It was hard to
And-
find.
What's that?
It was a little hard to find.
Oh, okay. But you found a place? Okay. We're talking about coconut chicken. That's what you got?
Yep.
I got coconut shrimp. They had both at China One. And they're advertising this thing. This is in their specials list. This is on a billboard. They've got a billboard, hey, check out this dish. So I went in with high expectations for this dish, thinking I found some unique thing that only this place has. It's going to be a great treat. And it was a total bust. I mean, let me describe what it was. It looked to me,
Walk us through, Mike.
when I opened this thing up, it looked like a bunch of Zeppelis. Are you
Okay.
familiar with, what a Zeppeli is?
Nobody knows what a Zeppeli is.
You don't know what a
Out of the
Zeppeli
World's
is?
Fair in 1964. That's the last time anybody knew what a Zeppeli
No.
was.
In the metro area, any carnival, any Italian festival, you go, you get your Zeppelis.
Okay.
It's fried dough with powdered sugar. You've never had these?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't know the name of it.
All right, calm down. I'm sorry.
So anyway, that's what it looked like. I mean, the if you can call it a sauce, it was like it looked like sugar on top of these battered shrimp, fried, and they're all lumped together in a big mound. I thought maybe there would be something in the dish with them, but there was just some soggy lettuce at the bottom of the dish in this thick white coconut type sauce. And here's the thing, I'm not even getting like a heavy coconut taste. It was white, so
Yeah.
you would think there would be a coconut type flavor with it, but I wasn't even getting any coconut flavor. So just imagine these, and they were big chunks of shrimp in batter, fried batter. So, and with the tails on it and all, I didn't even realize. I guess you could fry a shrimp and eat the tails. I mean, it wasn't like I was choking on them, but
like we're animals. Thanks, China One. That's how little respect they have for you, Mike.
but they were very dry.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, they gave you rice with it, which is like kind of pointless because then you're putting these dry battered shrimp on rice, and it was just the whole thing was dry then. So just yeah, this was terrible. This was the worst I've gotten since I mean, you had a good one, but I had the lemon chicken fingers.
Wow, you're still upset about the lemon chicken.
Yeah, that was a bad one because I felt like I was duped with that one.
Wow.
I think the chef didn't know what he was doing, and he just, let's give this guy some chicken fingers with some lemon sauce on. So yeah, this was pretty bad.
Wow. Well, some of that was similar to me. First of all, let me start by giving a shout out to my nephew, who doesn't listen to this, but let me know that he did peek in briefly, and all he said is, "Do you guys ever talk about the food?" So I want to give a shout out to my nephew that we're we're talking about the food. Of course, there's no chance he's gonna hear this, but I gotta say, I was shocked at this for a couple of reasons. I opened it up. Number one, I hate coconut. So when you suggested this, I was like rolling my eyes, like, all right, well, this will be another one I ditch in the trash. Like, I don't know what I was picturing.
Uh-huh.
I was picturing shredded coconut on check. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
And so it shows up, and it's in these big chunks. You could tell by looking at it, the breading was thick.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
And then I poke around a bit, and it's just, you can see there's a light glaze of whatever.
Yeah.
And then you see a bunch of it pulled at the bottom, and it's like pale tan looking
Yeah. Goop.
gross juice. Not
Yeah,
even
yeah.
just gross juice.
Jeez.
Like, is gross juice a thing?
Yeah.
It is now. Because I was like, this is gross juice.
Yeah. Mine look gross. I had like lettuce in mine.
But I was like, well, this is what I get paid no dollars to do. So I started eating it. And it was, I don't want to say incredible. I don't want to oversell it. It was fantastic for two reasons.
Wow.
First of all, the chicken itself, with these beautifully big chunks of juicy white meat. You could have asked for better chicken,
Uh-huh.
which I was reminded today. I was like, at some point, we're really going to have to do a thorough study of the different styles of chicken and cuts of chicken they use for every dish.
Mm-hmm.
They rarely use the same cut of chicken.
Yeah, well, we've been noting,
Yeah, like, I wish I'd done a more thorough note every time, because it's getting to be comical.
Mhm.
Second of all, to what you said, I didn't taste a whiff, a scent, a scintilla, a note, an iota, a whiff of an iota of a scent of a scintilla of coconut.
Uh-huh.
There was no coconut.
Yeah.
And I even re-dipped one of mine in the gross juice just to see, well,
Yeah, me too.
Me
too, yeah.
At first, I'm being a little
Uh-huh.
babyish about it, and just pick off the top. I was like, well, and there was no taste to it.
Uh-huh.
So to me, it was perfect.
It was nuggets. You got nuggets.
It was basically wonderfly done.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggets. So I was picking shit. So I want to rave about it, give it a high score, but then I'm like, should you ding the dish if it's called coconut chicken and there's not a remote sense of coconut coming anywhere near it?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you should be dinged for that, even though I liked it because of that.
It's false advertising, right? I mean, people have seen the word coconut, and I like coconut. I felt like this could be something new and different and tasty, and I was wrong. I mean, I went on a limb with the shrimp. I guess I had no idea that it was going to be batter fried.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had no idea what it was going to look like. If it's
maybe I should. Well, no, I guess I should keep the mystery, not even knowing what the thing looks like before I order it. But yeah, I had no idea it was just going to be these fried lumps. and I got down 5 of them. I mean, I think there's still about this huge lump. I mean, I have a feeling I'm not even going to eat this one. This may be the first one that I trash. Yeah. Because
you learn nothing from the days of the Depression.
No, I feel bad. Like I said, I don't like to waste food. And, but this thing is just, and it's dry. I'm eating it, and when you drink, you're eating something dry, and you're like, your mouth contracts, and it's like, you got to get something to drink. That's the experience I had eating this. It was just is this maybe the worst dish I've had? Now we got to remember the chow mein, the wet lettuce, the wet salad.
Tough to top chow mein.
But it's number 2, I think. I think this is worse than the lemon chicken.
Wow, we're finally moving on from the lemon chicken.
Yeah, this is number 2 worse for me.
This is going to be one of our more disparate. You said disparate or disparate?
But I'm glad you had a good experience. It's like,
you say disparate or disparate? I say
disparate. Disparate.
Okay.
Yeah.
we're gonna have disparate scores on this one.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I'm
a
glad you
fantastic-
enjoyed it. If we
I'm
both were
agreed, but-
miserable,
But they
I
had
don't think
nothing to do with coconut.
we've only been miserable once together, and that was the chow mein, right?
Yeah.
But this one, yeah, this was bad. But I'm glad you had some good nuggets. Would you say the chicken was better in this than what you normally get in a nugget? It was
Yeah,
more,
well-
yeah, it was.
It was the idea. It was like just beautiful, big chunks, juicy, white meat. Perfect.
Yeah. Well,
Nope.
I'm sorry I missed that. I suspect that the coconut chicken at this place I went to is probably better. But I think I'm done with China One. I'm gonna
Ouch.
move on. I mean, they were a little out of the way. I had to go further for this place, so I think I've
We're
exhausted.
already on thin ice.
I think I've exhausted their exotic dishes now with the coconut chicken. So I think we're done with China One.
Wow. What are you giving it?
I'm giving it. What did I give chow mein? 2. I mean,
Wow.
I'll give it 2.5. You know, yeah, it was just not good.
I'm giving it, like I said, I have to ding it a little because it was basically just chicken nuggets, just
Uh-huh.
really good chicken nuggets. But I will give it a 7-9.
7,
In
9.
that, I think what would happen is if anybody said, "Hey, I've got Chinese food. You want some?" If I said, "What is it?" and they said coconut chicken, I think I would legitimately ask, "Does it taste like coconut?" If they say no, then I'll be great. I would love some coconut chicken. So, because to me now, coconut chicken is just really good chicken nuggets,
Yeah.
which we
All right.
know Chinese restaurants are already great at. So if it gets upgraded from their chicken McNuggets in the appetizer section to chef's dish, coconut chicken, maybe that's what they use the really good chicken stuff for.
Well, I guess the takeaway from this is that if your place has it and you're looking to try it, go with the chicken, because
Really?
yeah, I mean the
Oh.
shrimp, the shrimp
Oh.
in this dish was, you know, they were small, they were not. Yeah, it was like there's no flavor to the shrimp, and so it was-
People get upset about me not loving shrimp, and yet here we are.
well, I'm a shrimp lover, and this is not a good shrimp experience.
I accept your apology. You don't have to do this, bro. You don't have to beg.
But I do have to. I'd like to endorse a real coconut flavored cookie I recently came across. Never tried it before. I was a fan of Famous Amos back in the day when I was in college. I don't think they were all over the place at the time. You could only get them in New York.
He's still alive.
Yeah, I believe so. And but what we're talking about, the early 80s. I think he was not as huge as he is now, but I think back then you could only get that stuff in New York. I mean, I don't think I could get it down in Jersey. Yeah, he was Famous Amos had the chocolate chip cookies, but now he's expanded, and he's got a Wonders from the World series out there. I discovered these in a my local Quick Check. These are Famous Amos Philippine coconut.
Can't see him. Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
they're
I don't like coconut.
yeah,
I could stomach it in a cookie if I have to, if you're standing there.
but they're good. They're good. I recommend them.
He popped up on an episode of The Office, if I recall. How weird is that?
Was he? He was in the episode?
I think there's some episode where Andy was putting together, trying to do it like a small business seminar, and all of a sudden Famous Amos is there, like telling you how to start a business or something. I
Oh,
can't
really?
remember.
Okay, that
Not one of the more famous part.
vaguely familiar. Yeah. So yeah, check out Famous Amos Philippine coconut cookies.
Wait, are we
Bite
get paid
size.
for this?
By size.
Don't shill for nothing.
Hey,
Mike. Don't shill.
hey, if they want to endorse us, yeah, well, we'll shill. We'll shill.
Well, we'll see how much money Pizza comes through with after my talking about them earlier.
Did you see this thing? I mean, it's one dopey thing after another. It's all PR stunts now. Did you see the thing about Burger King, the real cheeseburger?
Oh, the 21 slices or something?
It's 20 slices.
But that's all. It's no meat, right? It's all cheese.
No,
Right?
yeah, it's stupid. It's called the real cheeseburger. This was tried out in Thailand. They didn't try it in the US because maybe violence would have broken out. I don't know. But it's 20 slices of cheese inside a sesame bun, no meat, no condiments. So yeah,
No thanks.
yeah, no thanks. Exactly. Yeah, but people fell for it. And people were trying it, and it's like, and
Hey,
they
we're talking about it.
there's
I
all
saw the news
there's,
too.
there's all these there's all these comments that people couldn't get through half of it. Well, what did you think? I mean, how many slices do you get in a pack of cheese when you buy it from the store? It's about 20, right?
20. Yeah.
So why not? Yeah, just go to the store, buy a package of cheese, and start gnawing on it. It's like
Hey,
if you want
like I
that experience,
we
you
can
know,
make fun, but one of those sandwiches probably cost them 0.00001 cents, and we're talking about it.
yeah, no,
Hey,
you're right. You're right.
I love cheese, but I couldn't eat that.
Somebody was speculating that they must have got stuck with a lot of cheese, and this was a way to
Yeah,
just get rid of it.
unload it.
Let's just unload it. We'll create a sandwich, call it the real cheeseburger.
Stocked up over the pandemic.
But yeah, what a nasty
No thanks. No thanks.
sandwich. Did you
You're
see
better than that.
my
You're the king. Act like it.
did you see my ketchup dust up on Instagram? I guess not.
Did I?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I just commented.
Oh, I missed it. You don't post a lot on Instagram.
No, but I posted a comment or reply on there's a Team Taylor NJ. This guy's got 14,000 followers. I guess he goes around to the breakfast places in New Jersey, eats their bagels, he eats their egg sandwiches, and he eats Italian subs. And he's got 14,000 followers. What are we doing wrong, Greg?
Wait, that's it? That's what he does?
No. But anyway, no. So he went to. Remember, I talked about that deli with the line going out the door.
Mhm.
So I blew it off. Talercio's, it's named. It's in Middletown, New Jersey. I tried to go there, but it was a line. I'm like, I'm not waiting on line for a sandwich. So I didn't have the experience. But this guy, Team Taylor NJ on Instagram, he put up a video where he's eating one of their breakfast sandwiches that they do on Sundays. And it's a Taylor ham, egg and cheese sandwich. Looks like maybe they're Talercio's does these sandwiches that are almost too big to bite,
Oh, yeah.
which is where do you stand on those sandwiches that are piled too high?
On one hand, it seems like a great idea, but they never. Number one,
Too much.
you have to be a boa constrictor to get your draw over the whole thing. You throw away half of it.
Uh-huh.
You can't get a real bite you either get a bite with all meat or all bread or all this or that. You never get a bite with all the stuff. It seems like a good idea, well-intentioned. They're usually not good.
Yeah, and this egg sandwich, even for whatever reason, they stick a fried ravioli on top with a toothpick, which it's fine. Take it off. Don't make that part of the sandwich. But this guy, so he's eating this sandwich. He can barely get his mouth around it. I think there's hash browns in there as well. So it's piled high. And then he posts his video, and the thing's dripping with ketchup. Yeah, okay, exactly.
Okay.
I see
No,
Greg is shaking his head. You don't don't put ketchup on the breakfast.
Ketchup is for children and Midwesterners. And everybody waddy.
So I see this thing, and he's smeared it. I think it's on the top and the bottom, all this ketchup. So I put up a comment. Is that ketchup? So wrong. So he took offense to that. His reply was, "Why are you afraid of ketchup?" Not such a great reply, but so my comment was, "Not afraid. Would rather enjoy the taste of the sandwich instead of the taste of ketchup." Then he really starts hitting me.
Hello?
Where did we cut off?
You were ranting and ranting about ketchup.
Okay. All right. I'll just yeah, we'll try and wrap this up then. Yeah.
Is this Zoom trying to tell us to shorten these things?
Well, Zoom is saying there's a storage space issue and all this other stuff. Anyway, so yeah, so he I posted is that ketchup so wrong? His response was, "Why are you afraid of ketchup?"
Yes.
My response, not afraid, would rather enjoy the taste of the sandwich instead of the taste of ketchup.
Mhm.
His reply, sounds like you need to grow up and accept the existence of condiments.
Oh, strong.
Well, I get stronger. Sounds like you never grew up.
Woo!
I bet you put ketchup on steak too.
You should have told me about this, so we could have acted it out. I could have done his part.
Uh-huh. Then his response, what else are you afraid of, Mikey boy? I'm sure the list is long. And my response is, it's not long, and you're not on it.
Woo!
Run along now. Isn't there something else you can put ketchup on?
Mm.
So that was he couldn't come back after that.
Mike, you got down in the mud.
It was a dust up, and I dusted him off.
Mike will go, for those who don't know, Mike will go down into the mud and fight.
Uh-huh. So I enjoyed that. I thought maybe we'd pick up a couple more followers, but I don't think we did. People agreed with me. I got a couple likes.
No more, no followers.
No, somebody
last night's video brilliance.
I don't know what we got to do. We have a loyal following, but we're seem to plateauing out again.
That's all right. I
but,
mean, if this video from last night doesn't help, and
yeah,
a lot of ideas.
anyway.
Oh well.
But
I did have something happen to me on the train 2 days ago.
you and the train, the buses.
Well,
all
so
these...
I'm already, I'm already furious with the world because walking through this baking sun to the metro, I'm already furious getting on it. And usually, I've been doing the metro now for, I don't know, 5 months now, 3 days a week. And I've only had to stand maybe 3 times. And even then, usually after 1 or 2 stops, there's usually a seat for me. I'm old, I'm sitting. The other day I get on, standing only. No problem. Station or 2, I'll be sitting down. Station, next station. Goes on and on and on. I start looking around. Nobody's getting off the train. We're going and going and going. We're going for like 10 more stops. And literally no one's getting off the train.
Yeah, that's unusual.
And it's very unusual. And finally I snap. I never yell or scream or I wish I was Larry David and the things I think, but I would never have the balls to say. Finally, I just screamed. I was like, is everybody coming to my fucking apartment?
Yeah.
And it was incredible. They just never got off the train.
Did they all get off with you though?
No, that would have been funny.
So
that
when you got
it, flash mob or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, everybody gets off the train and follows you to your apartment. Like goes as far as they can. Like walk into your building and there's like 100 people behind you. But yeah, I stopped. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I've never seen that.
Was it part of a big outing where did they seem to know each other? Were they talking to each other?
They're all part of the reasons I had the balls to shout is because I knew, they all got their headphones in anyway. So they didn't hear. Then I get home, I'm on the elevator, some other guys in there, young guy, looks like he's in his 20s. I know I got to work on my small talk because I don't want Mike to yell at me. So I'm about to get off and he shakes as he goes, too hot out there. Too damn hot out there.
There you go.
And without thinking, I said, you got that right, Poppy. And I walk away.
Poppy.
And as I'm walking,
that's
I'm like,
a good
Poppy?
one. Yeah. Yeah. Where'd Poppy come from?
Poppy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not Mexican. I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
I've never said Poppy.
Yeah.
in my life. And I'm like, now this guy thinks I speak Spanish or something. And so if I ever see him again throughout the building until either one of us dies or leaves the building, I'm gonna have to put on some performance that I'm Mexican or Spanish.
Mhm.
Hey, Poppy. Next time I see him, I'm gonna have to go, you see, Poppy, what's up? I'm gonna have to do this performance now for the rest of my fucking life. Because for some reason I said, you got that right, Poppy.
Poppy.
Because my brain was melted from the heat
Yeah.
and nobody got out the goddamn train.
Uh-huh.
I thought maybe they were all coming to visit me.
Yeah.
They weren't.
Maybe you were dehydrated.
And then
You were becoming delirious.
What if I ever said, you got, hey, Poppy,
Yeah.
now I gotta, keep this going forever.
Mhm. Did you watch a sitcom recently where one of the characters was doing that?
No,
Didn't pick it up from a sitcom?
I do other things other than watch sitcoms. Now, it is possible I could have learned or gleaned something. It wasn't a 30-minute situation.
I go to the sitcom theory right away with you.
You're not wrong. Yeah, it's not the wrong instinct. I'm being fair. Yeah, that was quite an hour and a half burst of activity for me.
Uh-huh.
But I do what credit. I did speak to the guy. I felt fine. I was like, yeah. I just said something that now will lead me to pretend I'm from a different country.
Well, I'm sorry you're still experiencing social anxiety.
I wouldn't call it anxiety. I mean,
It seems like it's in your head.
well,
Yeah.
your stupid CDs are in my head.
Did you get a fortune cookie?
No.
No.
Are we on like a month in a row?
Hmm.
When's the last time I got a fortune cookie?
I don't know. It's been a while. So, didn't you get one with the fancy bag?
Oh, good question. I can't remember. I don't think so.
Huh.
Not sure. That was a hell of a bag, though. Should have kept it. Should have kept it and carried it around so people think I always eat lunch at City Lights.
This is a little late, considering what I've just experienced moving out of Bayonne.
Does it get the hell out of Bayonne, Mike?
No, it says, do not hesitate to look for help. An extra hand should always be welcomed.
All right.
No shit, yeah.
Again, I'd say that's good advice, but not a good fortune.
No, not a fortune at all, yeah.
Ugh. The Chinese people do so well with chicken McNuggets, but can't get it together for these fortunes anymore. I don't know what happened. Just generation.
And the fortunes are going to be produced by AI. That's coming. I actually saw that I think in Harper's Magazine that AI is going to be doing fortunes now.
Well,
so the whole industry is being turned topsy-turvy.
The fortune cookie industry. What are we now?
The fortune cookie writers.
Weren't these things already written 50 years ago? Aren't they churning through the same 40?
No, I think they're getting it's more self-helpish.
Well,
I mean, the ones I've been reading lately are all this sort of,
but they're not modern
self-help
right?
type.
They could be in the 50s or 60s or 70s. Wouldn't you say? But you're right. They are more self-help.
Yeah. I mean, you ever read birthday cards or greetings cards or,
I just watch sitcoms, Mike. I don't know.
A get well card. They're very in a similar vein as these fortunes, Let's be positive. Let's ignore the negative aspects of life.
The reason I'm opening this shitty cookie is you're supposed to tell me what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. Now they've obviously lost the plot. And AI, I don't see recovering. But it will be interesting to read the AI fortune cookies.
I would guess they're the same, Fortune in time saves 9.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, it's that time again, Greg, where we thank everybody for listening.
Nothing about Live Aid?
Live Aid.
38 years ago today? No?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Was that a big deal for you?
I remember
a little more cognizant.
It was a big deal as far as watching it on TV. I could have gone. One of the setups was in Philadelphia, right? I had no interest in going to it. I
Mhm.
just figured it would be a total mob scene, and there weren't really a lot of acts that I wanted to see in particular.
Mhm.
So I figured, hey, I'll watch it on TV. And I think at one time this was back in the videotape era. So Mike was taping it all, had it
Did
all
you
on
tape the whole
video.
thing?
It was yeah, I think so. I think I got everything.
Wow.
And
Have you watched them since? I mean, it doesn't sound like you care.
you know what? Most people would say, I'm sure they're long gone, but I do in fact still have some old videotapes. Do I have the Live Aid? That is a good question.
And now all you really see is the U2 and Freddie Mercury stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was a total disaster for Bob Dylan.
Mhm.
He did that thing
Zeppelin.
with Keith Richards and Ronnie Wood, and that was just. I mean, I heard there was technical problems that they couldn't hear themselves, and it was a total disaster.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I remember, yeah, just it being a TV event more than anything else.
It was a big deal to me because I was still at that age. I was 12. I would turn 13 the very next day. The
Okay,
very next
yeah,
day,
I
I
get, yeah,
turned
yeah. So tomorrow's your birthday.
something you want to say?
I'm gonna save it for the actual day. But thanks for
Okay,
the reminder.
you're welcome.
I'm sure I would have got to Facebook and they would have reminded me. That's the only thing
And
Facebook is good for,
well,
by the way,
that's
reminding.
touching. That's touching. I hope tomorrow Facebook reminds you that it's my birthday. That's very nice, Mike. Thank you.
But
I
I
look
knew it
forward
was
to the
coming. I knew.
single tear sliding down my cheek tomorrow when I see your auto-generated message from Facebook.
I knew it was on the horizon. You dropped hint. You keep dropping those hints.
You're too sweet. But I was at that age where I still loved bands like I love Duran Duran, whatever those bands were on the radio were.
Yeah.
I feel like if I had been if it was a year later, because by then I'd discovered the Ramones and the Replacements and this and that. I feel like Live Aid, those I would have been like, oh, I would have been too cool for them.
Yeah, I guess I was slightly too cool for it.
You were a little old. You might have been a little more like, yeah, these, I
Yeah.
was at that. I wanted to see every minute. I was so, but then I look back a couple years ago. Every year I like to look at the making of video, and that story is great. I love how they did it and everything, and all the stories. But I was playing some of it, and I was like, "Does anybody explain why Rick Springfield was introduced on stage by Joe Piscopo? Is there any rhyme or reason in that?"
I guess they were trying to get those hot comedians involved.
That was high tide for Joe Piscopo.
Yeah, it
In
probably
front of the
was
entire world.
peak
I'm introducing
Piscopo. It was peak Piscopo.
Pete Piscopo in front of the entire world, two hemispheres connected. I am introducing. I mean, who was hotter than Rick Springfield back then? And then, like the next day, nobody ever heard from Joe Piscopo again. Once Eddie Murphy left SNL.
Well, he was close. He was in New Jersey, so it was easy for him to just go down the turnpike and be there.
Yeah.
You have to consider who's available.
But yeah, I love it. The event as an idea. I love the story of it. I'm sure if I watched the whole thing, half of the actual acts, I'd be like, whatever. But still exciting.
Okay.
I wonder if they'll do something big for the 40th.
So this year it's 39.
38.
38. Okay. Yeah, probably. I mean, does MTV even play music anymore?
No.
No, it's like, yeah, music TV. Why don't they just?
They literally announced years ago they were no longer playing music.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them do something. It'd be, it was a big event. It was a big event. It was a global big event. We kind of forget about now, but
maybe somebody will do a documentary.
I recommend. Well, they have. That's what I'm saying.
Which documentary are you talking about?
Well, I'll post it. I've seen through the years. I don't know if they've done a definitive one, but like there's a couple that I've popped around into. I don't know if there's a definitive like HBO doc.
Right. Yeah.
But I've seen a couple that seem they're very well done and thorough. So I'll send one around too.
Okay.
I'll send one. I'll post one that
I'll
everybody.
look for that.
I'll post a video of it that everybody can fucking ignore, like last night.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
that's the breaks. I want to thank everybody for listening. Hit the bell, hit the subscribe button.
Yep.
Still trying to get those numbers up.
Trying to get that number up. Thanks to everybody listening. Do what Mike says down below. Subscribe, like, whatever he says to do. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.